and something. And we are talking about how to get emotion and expression in your portraits with our special guest, Peter. We've got a situation here, people. Hurley, and my co-host today is back from gallivanting around the country. You know, he hails from the Sudan. His shades are Ray-Ban. He's kicking it with Charlie Chan. He sings a little ditty about Jack and Diane. He doesn't like Ginger. He likes Mary Ann. He's got a limited attention span. He's friends with Vince McMahon. His movies debut at Cannes. He raps with Roxanne. His favorite CMY color is cyan, and he sails around in a Kuna catamaran. He's the president of Bhutan. His favorite rouge is Mulan. Actually, it should be Mulan. Take that back. His sunglasses are Ray-Ban. It's the real Rocket Man, Erik Kuna. We got some news. We got some wild butt stories, and it all starts in just 36.5 seconds. Let's go.
The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
Hey, everybody, welcome. We are back. We got a very special guest. We got a situation here, people. Peter Hurley, the man, the legend, and one of the coolest guys in our entire industry. And we are very happy to have you here, Peter.
Oh, my gosh. You know I love being here with you.
How many times have you been on this show?
That's a good question. That's what I was telling Erik. I said, I think it all started in 2012, maybe 2013, something like that. I came down here. And then we did a bunch when we were doing this together. And so I don't know, 10, 5, 10.
Okay,
at least
this has got to be 10 times.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So guys, so the story behind the book is this guy calls me up one day, or I had him on the phone. I must have gotten your attention somehow. I must have been here. And he says, "You're the headshot guy. You need a book." And I was like, "I don't write." He goes, "Well, that's okay. You need to be an author." And I would not be an author without this man next to me. So this is like so huge and life-changing what you do for people. And you know that, and I try and tell him every time I see him, but and he knows.
You're very kind.
So I'm an author because of Scott Kelby. So I'm saying it here. But
I
he
can shoot a
says,
headshot because of Peter Hurley.
But you said you're the authority on headshots. Yeah. You got to do a book. And I said, I don't write. And you said, it doesn't matter. You're going to come down. You're going to sit with me. We're going to put my iPhone in between us. We're going to record it. We're going to transcribe it. It's going to be the book. And Scott sat with me. I mean, I came down every month for like 6 months, like 6 times. So I did at least 6 grids. And he sat with me and we talked out the book, and then I got the transcription back and I was like, oh, this is nuts. I got to rewrite the whole thing. No, I did. I use it as the backbone. And this was like the hardest thing that I did. So it's very exciting. And the topic of conversation today is so apropos because this is what this is about. This may be, headshots, but my platform's people. I started out as a portrait photographer, so I didn't get into the headshot thing. But what happens is if you guys ever notice, if you ever take a headshot and you get in close and somebody doesn't give you the right expression, it's amplified because now you're close with a crappy expression. So that's why the whole, my platform's headshots, but it doesn't matter if the person's 3 feet or 30 feet away. I'm still working on expression is so important.
It is, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But spending all that time with Peter was great for a bunch of reasons. I learned so much about headshot photography and people, which is really essentially what the book is about. But I will say this, what I learned about Peter is, unlike many people in this industry, Peter is a genuinely really good person. He is just a good guy. Like at his core, at his soul, is a great human being. He really is. And and we've had a long relationship with Peter. It's been great. And the business side has been great. But the personal side, if you because sometimes you see people on TV, on the screen, and you go, I wonder if they're really like that. Peter is exactly off stage like he is on stage. He's always and he is living his best life. And that is infectious. When you're around someone who loves life and loves people and loves everything, it really is very infectious. So we're honored to have you here again. We're honored to have done your book. You did a wonderful job with it. And the thing that I love about it when you read the book, it's you. Yeah. It sounds like you.
I told Cindy,
all the way through.
When you read it, you're supposed to hear my voice. If you know my voice and you read it, it's like I'm talking to you because I told Cindy, don't leave all the grammatical mistakes in the way I talk in there. It was amazing.
It is. It's you. Also today, with wild stories, he's back from gallivanting out on the West. He was out there doing some classes, and he and our director and producer Jason was out there with him, and Rampton Kazami came down from Canada, and they all went out there and were recording classes on location. And Mr. Kuna, take it away.
Oh, it was fun. So yeah, we were out there, flew out to the Phoenix area. So we were outside the Phoenix area. We're doing a couple classes. Remy did this awesome class about scouting a location that you've never been to before. So a lot of times in landscape photography, we'll be traveling to places. How do we scout that location, go through the whole process of like finding the location, getting the location, shooting the location, and then post-processing the location that you've never been to. So great class there. And then we were shooting, Jason and I were shooting a time-lapse and a pano class, and then a post-production on that. So one of the things we were doing is we were shooting in this location that Ramy had scouted. So we went earlier in the day. We went to the location. You know, everything's fine. We go up to the location. We find the spot. We know where we're going to be, and we're there, right? So then we have to come back at night, you know, or not at night, but at sunset. So we're trying to arrive about an hour before sunset, get everything set up again, and then shoot. So we do the hike. It was maybe a mile. It wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad hike. A little bit of a hike up a mountain. We're in that location. We're about to cross, so there was this path, and Ramy's got that full energy, right? He's just ready to shoot, ready to go. So we're in line. Of course, it's Ramy who's leading the pack because he's way out trying to get the shot. And there's me kind of in the middle, and then there's Jason behind because he's all flying drones and doing all this stuff. So we get up to a section where we were supposed to go farther down where there was a gate. Well, there was this little cheap path that there was a fence that had been knocked down. So there was a barbed wire fence that's kind of sitting about, it had been knocked down, it was sitting about maybe 10 inches off the ground. And you had to step over this barbed wire fence. So Ramy's already passed, he's up there, we're trying to follow and keep up with him. I get over the barbed wire fence, just kind of casually step over. And then I'm walking and I turn around and Jason's getting over the fence. So I'm up about 10, 15 feet and I turn around. And now at this point, everything starts happening in very slow motion, right? Because Jason goes to step over the barbed wire fence and I'm turned around looking for him. And then I could see myself going, oh no. And he is got his leg up to step over, and instead of stepping over, he's got his backpack on, and it just took him back, and he went back. So, okay, he wanted to go back because he's like, hey, I'm not going to go forward into a barbed wire fence laying on the ground, I'm going to go backwards. Well, what Jason hadn't calculated at that time is behind him was a plant. And that plant has tons and tons of prickers on it. It's actually a cholla cactus right behind him. So he falls back, and this whole time we're seeing this in slow motion, and I'm like, oh no, this is it. and I'm running back, and I tried to hold it together, because when I came back to Jason, I don't think Jason, if he would have saw himself, he would have been able to contain it, but he was totally cool. He knew he had fallen in a cactus, but he literally, and I wanted to show, like, I'll bring it up so you could kind of see. So I kind of like, we didn't take a picture of this, right? And actually Jason said, I wish you would have taken a picture of it, but we didn't. But like, you know, like a picture like this, or maybe like this, you know, where somebody had fallen in and his whole body is full of these like little like hitchhikers everywhere. Now what saved him is the backpack, because he fell mostly, this stuff kind of the backpack, but still really bad, right? So we're there, he's got these cactus, he looks like he's been consumed by a cactus, basically like eaten by a cactus. So I'm getting a stick and pulling these things out, and I'm yelling for Ramy, we're not gonna be shooting anytime soon, you need to come back. And then he's like, what? And I said, Jason fell into a cactus. And he goes, what? And then he starts running back. The next 20 minutes was us pulling these cactus balls out with twigs and sticks and tools out of his body. Then, this is the part that kind of got interesting was,
Yeah,
so
let's
we got,
take it up a notch.
We got to take it up a notch. So we're there, we pulled out, we've spent 20 minutes pulling out these cactuses. And then Jason turns to both of us and says, okay, I never thought I'd say this at work, but I got to drop my pants. And he's like, I need your guys' help. I got to get some out. And he had a couple that had got right into his bum. And so Jason had to drop his pants, and me and Remy had to pull little cacti things out of his bum. So Jason, Remy, and I are very close now.
It's hazard
We're
pit.
very close. And the moral of the story is watch out for the cactuses. So
Wow.
definitely, it was an adventure. It was an adventure.
Well, that's all the bad stuff. Can you show us a few of your shots?
Yeah.
Eric's
So
been,
let's
sharing
show some.
shots.
This is what we ended up getting, right? So here's a few of them. I haven't worked on a lot of them, but
Wow.
here's one. This was
that beautiful?
Lost Dutchman State Park outside of there. This is actually right outside of Phoenix. Like, you could get to the Phoenix airport in like 40 minutes from this location. And that's actually why I went there. The mountain is lit with light pollution. So you've got the mountain is lit with the light pollution, but yet the Milky Way, I've lined it up and planned it ahead of time to where the Milky Way is visible because there's nothing behind that way in Phoenix at this time of year because it's shooting away from Phoenix. So we got that. Then later we went away from Phoenix to the other way, went to another National Wildlife Refuge and shot there. Got some great stuff there as well.
Are those the cacti?
Those are the cacti, right? And then did some pano stuff, again, doing some wide pano.
These are beautiful, Eric.
And thank you. And then because we're shooting at sunrise and sunset as well, ended up getting some sunrise and
Man, you wouldn't want to
sunset.
fall into that, would you?
No, you definitely don't want to. It's not. I would not advise it at all.
I think
right?
the barbed wire would have been a better choice.
In retrospect, I think Jason would have chosen to fall forward. But again, so there you go. There's the shots from the
Wow, those
so
are
far.
beautiful. Very,
So
very
far,
nice.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's the story. So the moral of the story: watch
Wow.
out for the cactus.
All right, couple things real quickly, some news stuff. Tomorrow kicks off the Visual Storytelling Conference. It is a free conference. It's completely free. It's online. It's put on by Future Media Concepts. I'm speaking there. I'm doing a keynote presentation, and I'm also doing just a regular class on it. Now, it is for photographers and online video folks and like content creators, social media creators. It starts tomorrow. It's free. Go sign up for it. Here, I'm going to give you a link. I'm going to give you a link, Rooney. Give me 2 seconds to pull it up here, and I will have a link for you that you can go sign up and get in for free and all that good stuff. All right, I found the link. Hang on. Don't move. Don't breathe. Don't make a sound. I'm going to put it on screen in very big letters, big old screaming letters. And it's so easy. You're going to have to put this link in the chat because I think it's a long one. So let me just copy and paste it. All right, and let me find a better font so it doesn't look so bad. Oh, give me a regular everyday font. Let's make it big. All right, so, man, it's an awful URL, but that's it.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I will copy and paste it to Christina, and so you can put it in the chat. But go there and you can sign up, and a lot of people that you know were there. Let's see, other instructors would be Christina Shirk is there, Dave Cross is there, a number of other photographers are there. I'm doing classes that are more towards the business and creative side than I am. Like, I'm not doing any Photoshop or Lightroom, but there are people doing Photoshop and Lightroom. But there's many classes. It's 4 days. So it's free. I mean, it's just free. So go check it out. They got 3 big sponsors to pay for everything, like Dell and NVIDIA and some big companies. Picked up the tab so everybody can go for free. So that starts tomorrow. Later in the month is our landscape conference. This is our second annual one. We did one a couple years ago. It's not annual. I guess it's biannual.
Second one we've done. Yeah.
Landscape conference. We've got a great cast of instructors. It's all online. It's 2 days, and you get to access all of the tracks, all of the classes, and everything for a full year afterwards. So we archive it. And Rampton, we were just talking about Rampton Kazami, and he'll be there. So lots of great stuff, and you can get a really sweet deal if you go now. You can save $100, and it's very inexpensive because you're saving the $100. If you wait to the last minute, well, then it's not. Lots of post-processing stuff for this one. A lot of it's shooting, it's post-processing, it's everything. So that's coming up here. What else we got coming up? There's something else. What was it? Oh, the Depth of Field Conference. Thank you. Christina is on the ball today. I'm also speaking at the Depth of Field Conference. So the Depth of Field Conference is basically a portrait conference held by B&H. That's it. It is March 23rd and 24th. It's an online experience, and I am teaching class. Are you ready for this class? Well, this will interest you at all, but I'm going to tell Peter about it.
I'm ready.
So it is a class on creating better skies behind your portraits. Because, a lot of times you're shooting portraits outside and it's just a cruddy day. It's like a gray sky, and you're doing a bridal shoot, and you get the sky that you got. We don't have to settle for that sky. And so I have all these different tricks. The whole class is just tricks to make your skies look great. Now, if you're a landscape photographer or a travel photographer, anybody that shoots outside, I'm doing it in the context all of portraits. However, the sky appears behind many things, not just people. So keep that in mind.
That's fantastic.
Anyway. Yeah,
that's helpful.
It's different, right?
Yeah, it's great.
Well, I wish it was my idea, but actually it was David Brommer from B&H was saying, hey, we always deal with this. We always have this problem, but no one ever thinks to fix it. Why don't you do a class on it? I'm like, that's a great idea.
He comes up with the best ideas. He's got me doing some class. I'll be there too, guys, so make sure you check it out.
Peter Hurley will be there.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, then I was going to go anyway, so now I'm already there. Go watch Peter's class. All right.
We got a bunch of prizes to give away as well.
We have a bunch of prizes. What do we have, Mr. K?
Oh, we got a laundry list. So here we go. We got the Platypod multi-accessory kit we're giving away today.
There it is,
Scott's
right
holding
there.
that up right now. And there we have the Lightroom Classic book by none other than Scott Kelby. And then also Scott's travel photography book we're going to be giving away. Then we're giving away a copy of Boris Effects Optics, the 2022 version, which I've been getting up to speed with. Really some awesome stuff about it. I haven't even told Scott about it. I don't know if you've seen like the new stuff, but there's some amazing stuff in there. All right, and then On One Effects 2022 as well. We're going to be giving that away. And not the noise. We're not giving away the noise. We're giving away the On One Effects this week.
Yeah.
And then also we're going to be giving away Peter Hurley's book, The Headshot. So
All
we're gonna
right.
give a copy of Peter's book.
Mr. Hurley.
So if you want to enter any of these prizes, just leave us a comment in the comments. No matter where you're watching the show, we're monitoring it. So just tell us what you'd like to win. Then also in the comments, tell us where you're from. And the other thing is, I'm going to be kind of facilitating questions during this episode because I really can't add too much to portraits. But I'll be facilitating your questions to Peter and to Scott. So if you have any questions for them, just leave them in the chat as well, and we'll get them to them.
Yeah, Erik only does a portrait if there are cacti involved.
Yes. Cacti, or if it's an astronaut.
All right, so I have a quick story before we roll on, and then we're gonna have to take a short one before we launch into our topic. But this is on topic. My story is on topic. So right before we went on the air, Peter and I were talking, and Peter held one of his workshops, his in-person workshops, this past weekend. And we got a good friend, you know from us mentioning her 50 million times, Kathy Porupski, was helping with the class, and she's a joy. But if there's one thing that Kathy hates on a level that can hardly be measured on a scale, is having her own picture taken. Kathy's a photographer, quite a good photographer. So Kathy is used to being on the other side of the lens. She does not want to be the subject. She wants to be the photographer. But Peter somehow convinced her to pose for a headshot, and he showed it to me right before we went on the air, and I'm looked over and I'm like, son of a gun. Like, either one of the two of them is magic. Either Peter or Kathy, or the two of them together. Is it okay? Is it all right if we show one? All right, Kathy's going to let us show one.
Really?
But, dude, the first one you showed me, the very first, like the first test shot, I was like, oh,
I love them.
I love them. Kathy, they look phenomenal.
You can pull my screen up.
I've never seen anyone take a picture of Kathy unless, like,
Right,
we're all
here are a
posing
few.
at the end of a shoot and it's a group shot or something.
It's on my screen.
Yeah, take a look.
Look at that bad boy.
Oh, come
my
on.
God, that's the first take. Then I got her. Guys, we're going on expression today, so you got to be able to create some movement in your subject, and then.
Oh, I
different
love that
angles
one.
of the
You have
face.
such a sweet smile in these, Kathy.
I took these.
They're
I took
so-
them. I took that.
These are so good. They are so good because, I mean,
I love this one too.
they really capture who you are. Like, you look at them, you're like, that's Kathy.
Look,
yeah.
she's ambifacial. Look, that side of the face works, and this side of the face works. Most people, you can't do this, guys. You've got to be careful.
You know,
some
I've always
people
said
fall
that about
off
her. I
a
go,
ledge
she's
on one
ambifacial.
side.
Facial. Yeah.
That Kathy. Because people ask me, what's Kathy like? And I go, she's ambifacial. It's the first thing I say.
That's going to be the new thing.
They go, what else is she like? I have no idea, but ambifacial. But
gotta do
anyway,
that.
I just
Ambifacial
love
Kathy.
these. I just love them.
Yeah, it
I
was
just. And you know what? I've never seen a portrait of you ever. I've known you, how many? Kathy was my neighbor. Kathy lived like 4 houses down from me. I've known Kathy 14 years, something like that.
We had
Yeah.
the conversation, Kathy. I went
Like-
overboard to make sure I discussed this at length
Right.
with Scott.
I've
before
never
we
seen
started.
like a photo that wasn't a group shot with Kathy in it. And these are marvelous, and they're so well lit. By the way, speaking of well lit, Peter was here also doing a class on lighting, on just how to light headshots. And from what I understand, it went phenomenally well, which is very surprising.
It was awesome.
No, everything Peter touches turns to gold, so I knew it was going to be great. And we'll be having that coming out for you shortly. All right, it is way past time for us to take a break. When we come back, we are going to be on topic, which that was what we were just talking about was on topic. We're going to dig a little bit deeper, and I'm going to set Peter up for why this is such an appropriate topic this week based on what happened here on the grid last week. So stick around. We'll be back in just a second. Don't go away. All right, I love Lightroom as much as anybody. Lightroom is awesome. It's great for making things brighter and darker and changing the color, changing the contrast. It's great for doing more of the stuff that you do in your camera. But Photoshop is where the magic is. And I just put together a class on one of the most magical parts of Photoshop. It's why you want to go to Photoshop. It's layers. I have a class on mastering layers, and the whole thing is project-based. I'm not just gonna go, here's how you delete a layer, and here's how you add a layer. No. We're gonna build projects from scratch, and it's gonna be so much fun. You're gonna learn so many aspects. You're gonna unlock a whole new world of the way you work in Photoshop. You're gonna go through this whole class, and you're gonna go, holy cow, I can do this. There's not gonna be a single thing that I show you in this class that you're gonna go, I can't do it, it's too hard. Nope. Where do you find it? It's exclusively at kelby1.com.
Boris FX Optics is the definitive digital toolbox for image editing, visual effects, and optical filter simulation. Available as a plugin for Adobe Photoshop and Lightroom, and as a standalone application. Created by Academy Award-winning effects artists, Optics brings Hollywood-quality visual effects to your images. It's easy to explore your creativity with 174 unique filters. Choose from the thousands of installed presets. And use the comprehensive layer and masking system to turn simple photos into cinematic masterpieces. Add light with lens flares, light leaks and gobos. Add style with film stocks and looks. And with Optics 2022, add realistic particle-based effects like smoke, fire, sci-fi and more. All fully customizable to create a unique image. With affordable licensing options and a free trial version, there's no reason not to see for yourself why professional photographers, artists, and designers love working with Boris Effects Optics. Download it now.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
Hey, we're back. Scott Kelby here with a very special in-studio guest, Mr. Peter Hurley. Mr. Kuna is here as well, and he's moderating the chat today, keeping an eye on things.
Questions, ask.
You got questions for Peter, ask, because I'm not going to answer questions. You don't answer headshot questions within 100 miles of Peter. If you know he's in your state, you stop answering questions. But I will say this, why this is so apropos now is last week, if you guys watched The Grid, or was it last week we did? You were gone.
2 weeks ago. It was
2 weeks ago. Last week we did How Would I Edit Your Photo? 2 weeks ago we did our blind photo critiques. Thank you. And in our blind photo critiques, Peter, we mentioned you. We literally said this. Peter would say, "They're giving me nothing."
It's called NEFA non-existent facial activity.
Non-existent facial activity. And so we would look at the shot and go, it's not badly lit, it's not badly exposed, the background's okay, the background's out of focus or whatever. Like the technical stuff is fine, but this person is giving you nothing. This is something that we see again and again. It is very rare for us to get a portrait on the grid for a blind critique where we go, wow, they are really giving you that expression. You just saw an example of it just looking at Kathy's pictures. When you look at those, because it's one thing to take a picture of someone like historical, they were there on this date, click. But it is another thing to capture a portrait of who they are. And when I look at those portraits of Kathy, knowing Kathy for 14 years, I look at them and I go, oh, that's her. Like, he captured who she is, which is why it's important not just to get them to smile. So many of our photos look like the photographer went, ready, we're going to smile on 3. 1, 2, 3, smile. Or people look miserable.
Yep.
They look sad or they look miserable. So what we wanted to ask Peter was, how do we help these folks to understand, number one, how important it is, but how to achieve that, how to get something out of your subjects more than either looking sad or a cheesy smile?
Yeah. I mean, it's the number one thing. So this is my area. So I decided when I picked up a camera that I was on a roof. I remember distinctly. I was shooting a friend of mine, and I was doing her headshot. She was an actress, and I hadn't gotten into headshots yet. I was just shooting my friends that were models. And I put her on the roof, and I didn't know lighting, so it was natural light, and the sun was there. It was beautiful light. And I put her there, and I looked through the camera, and she was doing this non-existent facial activity thing, just blank, like in the camera like this. Where's my camera? Right there. And she was looking like that, right? And I was like, okay. And I said, okay, I don't know what to tell you to do. Because I was very open with her because she was my friend. And I said, do your monologue. And then she started doing a monologue. I was an actor at the time. I was like, do a monologue. That didn't work. Everything I tried didn't work. And then I looked at actors' headshots as a whole, and everybody looked blank. And I was like, why am I looking at actors' headshots and they look blank? And when I read magazines like GQ and Vanity Fair and stuff, the actors all look cool. And I was like, are the photographers better? Are the people better? Like, is it the celebrity or is it the photographer? And when I found out, it's a little bit of both. Because now I shoot celebrities, and sometimes they really up your game, and sometimes you need to help them. And I realize it's both. But I realized that photographers have not put themselves on the hook for this. They'd be like, oh, I got a model. The model's supposed to know what to do. And I was a model, and that's why I know about this. Like, I started in front of the camera, and that was and I've got some stuff that I want to show you on my screen that'll go through that. But when I was in front of the camera, like, if a photographer connected with me instantly, I was good. Like, I didn't go to Barbizon. Like, nobody taught me how to model. I didn't know what to do. And when I was with somebody that I had a good time with and I got stuff out of, I got great stuff. And when I didn't, it was Nefa face. I was blank. I looked out to lunch. There was no juice. Like, you guys want juice in your pictures. Can you guys go to my screen? I want to show you something. So I made up this word. I call it lookability. I defined it. I make up words. I define them. I don't know if this is in the book. I think I came up with lookability after the book, maybe. Maybe it's in the book. But what is lookability? I made it up. A measurement for imageability to secure attention from an onlooker, or to, in my book, a shebang shot that makes you want to stare at that sucker. Now, if nobody has lookability, there's absolutely no way your pictures are going to get looked at. Like, you want people to look at your pictures. Go back to my screen for a minute. I want to show you something. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much does this secure your attention? Now, I think that's in the book. Anyway, no, that's not in the book because I shot it after the book was published. This was at Kuna. This guy was walking around, and there's not a ton of expression there, right? But he's got the squinch on, which I had him do, of course. But he's got a great look, but it secures your attention. So I want you guys to look at your work, go through your work, and bounce it off other photographers. That's one of the things, is that we have a community here that we can bounce stuff off of other people and get their sense of it. And then on a scale of 1 to 10, look at what you think it is. And if you detect a low lookability score, it's very simple. You just get rid of that sucker.
Delete.
But I want to show you something. So my first job was for Ralph Lauren. So I'm in front of Bruce Weber's camera, never modeled before. I'm sailing my sailboat. The guy made me feel like $1 million. I got amazing pictures. This was my first introduction to Photoshop, because I'm right here. That's me. And I had a ponytail, and somehow when the ad came out, they gave me helmet head. I don't know. I learned Photoshop that way. But then I was modeling, guys, and I was in front of cameras, and every time the photographer made me feel uncomfortable. I mean, they dressed me up like a pirate. I was in scuba gear. I was wearing socks for Hanes. I did, hold on, this is not what I wanted to show. I was on a sailboat. I did all this stuff. I got to eat ice cream for Haagen-Dazs. Why am I showing you this? I was in front of this thing. I was doing weird stuff on some steps. I don't know what that is. I walked around the streets of New York in my underwear. Then they started to take my shirt off. They took my shirt off a lot. I don't know why, but I was ripped, I guess. And then I did this for Abercrombie & Fitch. This is my favorite picture ever taken. And then I got some headshots done, which I like. These are like headshots I love of myself. And then they started to give me fake girlfriends. I had fake girlfriends up to wazoo. I don't know what this is all about. Anyway, I'm trying to get to this last shot. These are all fake girlfriends. That was my real girlfriend, but we were headed out to the shoot, and she broke up with me on the way out there. That's why I look so miserable. And then I got married, and then I got pregnant. Why do I show you all this? Because the amount, everybody always asks me, you can come back to us, I guess, for a little bit, but everybody always asks me, like, what did you get out of being in front of the camera? What was my leg up becoming a photographer by being a model? It wasn't really, it wasn't like Bruce Weber encouraged me to pick up a camera, sat me down, and he mentored me. He never said, hey, use this ISO aperture shutter speed, put the light here and do this. Nobody ever said that. When I became, and for the first 5 years of modeling, I never paid attention to the photographer. I didn't care. I was like more into the craft services and the other models that I was hanging out with, the girls that were on the set with me. I didn't care about the photography. The minute I wanted to become a photographer, I became the most annoying model on the set. But one thing that was really true was that when I felt comfortable with the photographer, and there was a comfort level there, I got the best pictures. And when I didn't, I gave nothing and had non-existent facial activity. I remember having conversations with my friends that were models. How do we look better in front of them? What are we supposed to do? Like, and if the photographer didn't give us anything, we had to know. Like, you guys have those models that, you know, get in front of your camera. You go to a trade show and there's 10 photographers and one model, and nobody's directing the model, and the model's doing all this stuff. You know, they're doing their.
That was nice. That was good.
They're doing all their posing and everything, and the photographers are taking these pictures, but everybody got that picture, and the model didn't do anything fantastic for you. So when I get models, I have to deprogram them. We had 2 in here yesterday, and immediately I went for the connection. And guys, I don't go for the connection when they're in front of my camera. I go for the connection the minute I meet them. The minute I meet them.
Okay, can we stop right there?
Yeah.
Because, guys, that's a huge thing that he just said. He doesn't wait until he has them in front of the camera. You have them, start that connection the minute you meet them.
Yeah, but I don't talk photography. I just want them to think I'm cool. Tell them that, like, the kid was Richard was 18. I was like, I got to hit him with my Instagram. So I have 105 followers and the check mark. My girls are 19 and all their friends think that that's cool. So I was like, if he's 18, maybe he'll think that's cool. So I was like, all right, you got to follow me on Instagram. We got to do some stories. Meanwhile, he looks and he follows me. I was like, all right, I got that in. I snuck it under there. And then I had to compliment him on his looks and that I picked him to be here. You know, I picked you. You know, and all of these little things, and get yourself together. Let me look at your clothes and stuff. Nothing about what we're going to do in front of, nothing about what we're going to do in front of the camera. Nothing. People skills, just talking, right? Nothing about in front of the camera at all. It's all just for him to understand that guy's cool, and I think I'll be fine if I'm in front of his camera. That's all it is. Because if you start to go, this is what we're going to do when you're in front of the camera, you create a performance-based anxiety. Immediately, he's in the green room, waiting for me over here, and he's thinking that guy wants me to do what with what and I don't want that. I want them fresh, clean slated, and then get in front of my camera and do it. Can you go back to my computer for a minute? I want to show you something. So I was a Wrangler guy for a while. I was doing my little look over the shoulder. There's like 5 moves models do. This is one of mine. I'm a pro at it. I look over the shoulder, give a little brow activity. You see it?
A little brow,
right?
yeah.
But I was in a field in North Carolina, and the photographer was this woman who I barely remember, but I do remember that I was having a good time. There were other models there. We're running around. I'm wearing the jeans. Everything was fine. Perfectly easy job to do. I had stuff to do. Then I got back to New York. They put me on a white psych, and I was on the white psych, and I'm sitting there in the jeans, and the photographer has the client next to them, all the assistants. They had the ad agency, everybody's there watching me while I'm on a white psych with nothing to do. Well, I'm not, Joe Schmo model. Like, I didn't know. I had my 5 moves, but I didn't know what to do. So I was like, so he says to me, he goes, are you ready? And I was like, I guess. And I'm thinking inside, I guess. And he says, okay, just do what you do. And I'm like,
what do I do? I got 5 moves.
I was like, I don't do anything. So I did my 5 moves. My 5 moves were so the hands in the pockets are one of the moves. You got to do the hands in the pocket. Then the look off to the side. Then you shift the body weight with the arm cross, right? And then you go hands on hips. I had to cross my leg. I did I could do the fake laugh too. It was like did the fake laugh. Then I got to the 5th move. I did 5 already. I don't know what else I did. I did the brow activity. Yeah, I did my 5 moves. And I put my hands like this and I crossed my legs, and my face must have been like totally crazy because I was like, I don't have a 6th move. And this was the shot that came out. Well, that was the ad. That was what they did. They're like, this face. See, I probably had non-existent facial activity, so they were like, we can't show this guy's face. They paid me a lot of money for that. So that was it. Just get rid of this guy. So that was my experience as a model. Now, what did I do? I was on set. I had an awareness. I understood. I got it. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing to the photo industry, for all you people that decide to put humans in front of your camera, a responsibility. It's on you. It's not on them. It's teamwork. It's done through teamwork. You can't get a good shot of somebody without teaming up with them unless that person is seasoned and throws you a bone. Like, if you suck at direction, you need a bone thrown at you, you better get a good model that's in there. I actually did a shoot. I hope that nobody's watching. Anyway, I haven't modeled in years, but somebody asked me to do a photo shoot, and they brought in a bunch of clothes, and they said, we're going to supply a photographer. I think the photographer was a little, nerve-wracking because he's at my studio. I mean, we're at my studio, and he walks in, and I was like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to just listen to the guy. I'm going to let him light it. I said, what lights do you want? I'm not going to tell you any. I don't want to bug you. You're the pro. You do your thing. I'll just be the model today. And he puts the camera up in front of me, and he doesn't say anything to me at all. Like nothing. And I was like, well, this is my day too. I'm not going to let this happen. So I just did my thing, and I did all my moves. I did everything I needed to do, and we got great shots. And the magazines, the stylist everything was amazing, right? And I talked to the stylist after who had hired me, and it was his magazine and stuff. He said, you could have taught a clinic in modeling that day. And I was like, well, I wasn't going to let the photographer, who was quiet and didn't say anything, jeopardize what we were doing there on the shoot. Now, the photographer's super talented. Like, the shots look cool and everything. Technically, he was great. And I looked at his other work, and he gets good stuff. And you guys are going to get good stuff dependent upon your personality and stuff. Obviously, you look at me, and I talk really fast. I'm animated. I don't shut up. I yell at people, shebang and stuff. Like, you don't have to do that. You have to do it your own way. But you have to understand that that person's face. Here's the number one thing that I've learned since I've been a portrait photographer. Let me repeat. This is the number one thing that I've learned as a portrait photographer. So whatever you're doing, stop what you're doing right now and listen to this. The brain will try to tell you what your face looks like, but it doesn't know. Your brain, when you're in front of a camera, will try and tell you what your face looks like, but it doesn't know. So what happens is people would not make faces that they make in front of cameras if they knew their face looked like that, but their brain's trying to tell them. So when I coach them, their brain's fighting with them. No, that can't be right. I tell them to squinch, and they feel like their eyes are, that can't be right. That doesn't feel right. And they fight me with it, but I'm looking at the face. They're not, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, I could see my face because I'm on a TV in front of myself right now. But other than that, and I see my brows and I see my face. Other than that, I'm just looking out and I just see the rims of the glasses when I look. But the TV's right in front of me. I can see my face, so I can change it. I can relax my brow. I see that now. But we don't have that luxury. The only time you have that is when you look in a mirror. So there's two times when you control your expression: in front of a mirror, in front of a camera. Our job as a photographer is to be the mirror for that the subject, to give them feedback that the mirror gives them or what the camera's giving me. I'm going to give my subject feedback. I get animated on this if you didn't notice.
Oh, that's great.
I noticed
That's
it.
awesome. Yeah.
I noticed it. Hey, that's a great place to just take a quick pause. We're going to take a short break. Also coming up, we're going to give you a quick little official teaser about the Landscape Conference. That's coming up very soon. We want you to be there. It's going to be a ton of fun. We're going to have an epic time, and it's going to be great. When we come back, we've got some real quick shout outs to do. Don't forget to leave us a comment if you want to be entered to win one of these great prizes. We have lots more Peter Hurley coming up right after the break. Don't go away.
Hey everyone, I'm professional landscape photographer Ian Plant, and right now I am in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan along the scenic south shore of Lake Superior to do some winter landscape photography. And what brought me here is the amazing ice formations that you can find along the sandstone cliffs and caves of this region. And while I'm here, I'm going to share with you some of my favorite tips and techniques for taking amazing winter landscape photos. I'm going to talk about finding the best winter landscape subjects and creating dynamic compositions and visual designs that will draw the viewer deeper into your photograph. I'm also going to talk about the best light, color, and weather for winter landscape photos. And I'm going to discuss the practical aspects of successful winter landscape photography, making sure that you've got the right clothing to keep you warm and making sure that you can keep your gear safe from the cold weather. And we're going to take this from abstract theory to practical application. I'm going to take you with me along on a few photo shoots inside some of the ice caves up here. So join me for my latest class over at kelby1.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
Hey, we are back. Scott's here with Peter Hurley, and we're talking about headshots. Hey, real quickly before we jump in, we got some shout-outs and stuff, but want to mention, so, we launched the Plataball here on the Grid with a Kickstarter campaign. Good news, all the Kickstarter ads. Ooh, something sticky on that cable.
It's not a cactus.
It's not a cactus, but it's the next worst thing. Something sticky on it. Peter's like, I don't want to touch
Where's that cable?
It's a mic cable with sticky stuff
keep
on
it
it.
away
It's just
from me.
probably.
I don't need any of that.
From
It's goo. Oh, there we go.
crappy-
What is that?
It's residue from a crappy.
Oh, it's hand sanitizer, the perfect antidote for goo. More goo on top. Yeah, throw it over here. I'll try it. I can't go through a show like this. I'm crippled. Kathy Porupski sneaking in from the side. That was Kathy's hand. That's the most anyone ever sees of Kathy. All right. Oh, that's better. Oh, that's better. Oh, that's good. Thank you. Oh, this is so
anyways.
good. This is called personal grooming on the Grid. Anyway, so they fulfilled all the orders. They have a few left. They have a special campaign. They have a limited amount of the Ergo and the Elite. All right, so that's them. If you want to order them now, these will ship by April or May, and you can cancel anytime before it ships, so you don't have any risk or anything there. But oh my gosh, that's just right side for the screen there.
That's definitely not the right size.
We'll see if we can get it to fit the screen.
Yeah.
But anyway, they just told us about this, and so we want to make sure that you guys know about it, because some of you missed out getting on the Kickstarter, but they've still got a few left here before the. Now, of course, when their big shipment comes in, the public gets them. That's then it's the Wild West. But for now, you can get. They just have a small number of the Ergo or the Elite. You can get them both. They'll be here in April or May, and we'll hopefully have an address for you to go to here to do that in just a minute. While they're working on that, let's do some quick shout-outs. Mr. K?
Got, people join us all over the place. We got Corey joining us from Bmore, Baltimore probably, and then Craig joined us from Ashburn, Virginia. Faye joined us from Loxahatchee, Florida, and then we have Tim joined us from Kissimmee, and then Jerry joined us from Washington State. Alec joined us from Aberdeen. Flash joined us all the way from Maryland. Yeah. Matteo from Italy. David from Sweden. Dave Williams saying good evening. Probably in his RV. And then Rick Salmon saying having fun watching the Grid as always. And then JC Sewell's commenting on your layers class, Scott, saying it was great and don't think you know all about layers like I did. He'll teach you everything you need to know, basically.
Well, thank you,
layers.
JC. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
But we got a couple questions before we get going back on here. So there's a couple questions. First one, Peter, is from Lyle. Lyle's asking, what did you use for the background with that Kathy shoot?
That's interesting. So Lyle, I used a white wall. Now, those shots came out almost black on the wall. Does everybody know how to make a white wall go black in Photoland? Yes, you do. You use the inverse square law. So we pulled the lights off the wall a little bit. I like I'm wearing a black shirt today. If there was a black background behind me and my shoulders faded into the background, I don't like that. So I utilize the inverse square law by moving the lights. I use continuous light. I use the Peter Hurley Cineflex kit from Westcott. Is what I was using. And we moved it to a distance from the wall where I got separation off her hair and off her shirt, but the wall it was white. It's in the other room, just minding its own business, and I utilized it, and we made it go really dark. So if I want that wall to go white, I'm going to put strobes on it, which we did do in my class, which you can watch very soon here on Kelby 1.
Okay, well, that brings up another great question here, because Bob's asking, I would like to know how Peter decides when to use flash and when to use the LEDs. It's like, when do you use flash, when do you use LED? What's your decision?
So my go-to process for headshots is always to use my Cineflex kit. So in the front. In the back, I use strobes, and right now my go-to strobes that I use back there, because they're light, they're small, they're really great, and Westcott's been doing well with their strobe program, is the FJ200. So I use the FJ200s. Yesterday, we had FJ400s on there, so that's what you'll see in the class. And for the foreground, when I'm lighting my subject with strobe, usually the reason would be that I either have a lot of movement, I need to overpower ambient light for some reason, or I'm shooting full body, I'll use strobe. I also like to mix the flex kit with strobes on occasion, so I use a bicolor kit so I can match color temperature and things of that nature. But I would say 90% of the time I'm using the flex kit on my subjects. And then when I do my portrait work in my studio, I usually start off with headshots and then go into a variety of different looks, and I'll use a mixture of natural light, strobe, and flex kit. So, and sometimes I mix them all together. I'll use all three in the same shot on occasion. By dragging the shutter on the strobe, I can get the continuous or the natural light to come into the shot, which is always nice.
Hey, here's the flex kit that he's talking about. These big panels. You see my screen here. You can see the. There we go. Here's the panels, and it's a whole kit. But and if you look at the price, you got to realize this is you going into business as a professional headshot photographer. So this is an investment in your business.
Which kit is that? Can you scroll up? Can I see the name?
This is the Peter Hurley.
That's the bicolor 3-light kit, the 1x2s. This is the bicolor travel kit. So there's a studio kit that's new.
All right, well, I'll go look for it here
as well. No, that one's good. That one's perfectly
okay.
fine. But there's also a studio kit if you want to see that. But the studio kit is the one that we used in the lighting class.
Is this that one?
I've never done a lighting class. Yes, that would be it.
That's it.
That's the studio kit.
Yeah, there you go. There's the studio kit.
So you've got two 1x3s, one 1x2. They're all bicolor. Comes with yokes and scrims and all sorts of stuff that you get to utilize there. And that's my go-to. And I'm actually traveling with it. I run around with that. I'm bringing it back to New York with me from here. So I'm excited to have it fired up in the studio when I get back there too.
Okie dokie. All right. So Peter, you were showing me a project here on the break that was your COVID stay-at-home project.
So I'm not very good at Keynote, but if I got time, I got back from Australia when COVID started, and I got stuck in my studio because I couldn't go home. I wasn't sure if I had it or not. I was sick, and I was isolating and in the studio. So I had nothing better to do with myself than to investigate some Keynote stuff. So I basically, and this goes back to our topic of conversation, I wanted to figure out a range of expression that humans make. So the range of expression that humans make is basically super ecstatic on one end and super pissed off on the other, right? So I had this guy who's not a headshot photographer. He's a commercial photographer who happened to get a headshot job, and he's a friend. He's a friend of mine, but he started as a friend of a friend. But he texted me and he said, "Hey, I'm shooting some lawyers. You got any tips?" And I was like, and I thought about it because I never got a question like that. I mean, I guess I get questions like that, but for him, I was thinking he's not part of the headshot crew, so I'm not going to tell him to go over there and look at any tips. I was like, what am I going to tell him? I text him back, I don't do anything different. It doesn't matter what the person does for me. Like, I don't care what they do. I have a human face in front of me. I'm going to make it do everything that I can to have fun on the shoot, stretch, and do their range of expression, whatever expressions they make, and then we'll hone it down to the ones that are actually usable. So when I get a CEO that comes in or something and they go, no, I don't want any laughter shots, I'm always like, you don't understand how my process works. Like, I want, the process is this. The number one question I get when I'm on stage is, how do you get your subject to relax in front of a camera? That's the thing that's what you guys want to know, right? Don't you want to know the answer? You want to know I have the answer. The answer is get them to forget about the camera. But what does the photographer do? Okay, you need to relax. What does that do? That draws attention to the tension. Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Have you ever had anybody tell you, hey, you need to relax, and go, oh, thanks for telling me. Feels so much better now.
So true.
That fixed it.
That was
right
it.
there. That fixed it.
So what we have to do is get their attention off the camera. In order to do that, you have to be the expert. If you're the expert, which you are, if you've decided to do this and you're studying this, you should be studying your craft. You should consider yourself an expert. And I have a bunch of experts that I teach on the headshot crew, so I will happily give you my take on this. But you are in charge of their expression once they enter your viewfinder. That's what you have to do, because they can't see their face. They don't know what to do. Nobody ever instantly got more attractive when you said 1, 2, 3 and shot the picture. That's all photographers do. 1, 2, 3, great. What does that do? It does nothing. So what I try and do is run the range of expression with everybody, look at their face, and the one thing that photographers over history have had to do from the beginning of camera, well, the beginning you had to freeze for like 2 minutes to take a picture. But we've always been tasked to make people smile and to make people laugh. That's the say cheese thing. I want to rid the world of this because it doesn't work. It's like the people to smile like this, We have to have a way to make them smile. Now, part of my whole operation is to make people laugh and have a good time, because if they're laughing and having a good time, do you think they have time to think about the camera? Absolutely not. So I'll get the CEO comes in. I don't want any smile shots. I'm like, yeah, but your wife might, your spouse might, your parents might like it, like your kids might like it. And by the way, at the end of a smile, think about this. When we all smile, what's contracting in our face? Our muscles, mouth muscles. Everything's contracting when we smile. Guess when the face is the most relaxed?
When you're smiling?
No. It's the most tense. When you flex a muscle,
yeah,
and then you're stretching, you're flexing your muscles, or you're using your they're relaxing after the smile. You get the best shots. I'm going to show you something. So I'm going to show you.
Are you saying you get the best shots after the smile?
Yes, I create the smile to get the most relaxed shot on their face, because there's this moment between where the person goes. And this is freaking me out because I got 3 minutes, 48 seconds. Is that all right? Can I calm down?
Well, the network cuts us off. No, you can go as long as you want. There's no network.
Yeah, the network's in our ears. Like, yeah, so we got to cut Peter off.
I'm like, oh my gosh. So wait, I lost my track of thought.
I have this.
You were talking about
there's a moment.
The smile.
Okay, there's a moment when they laugh, and the laughter's happening. They're laughing about something. The laughter's draining out of their body. And then the person looks back in the camera and then recomposes themselves, gets ready for the shot. In that split second before that, they don't have time to think. They look in the camera before they go, oh, I have to get a good picture now. Their face is like exactly where I want it. And this is called getting a subconsciously driven expression. So we don't walk around thinking about our expression all day long. Like our subconscious handles it. Like it knows when we have to smile at somebody, and knows when we have to move our brows and try it. Did you think about your expression today yet? I doubt it. Your brain had it under control. Nobody looked at you and freaked out and ran the other way. You're fine, right? But when we get in front of a camera, we take this control. So I want to get the people when their subconscious is firing. So, and I'm aware of the range of expression that humans make. So I consider myself a facial conveyance strategist. So when the person, yes, I said that.
Is that a real thing?
I made it up. But I am a facial conveyance strategist. So when they look in the camera, I'm seeing what they're conveying. And if they're not conveying what I want, I am not sending the message from my cerebral cortex down my spine, down my arm, through my elbow, into my wrist, into my hand, down to the index finger to tell it to decrease the distance between itself and the floor. I'm not doing it.
Amen.
I don't shoot pictures if the expression's not there. So I'm trying to get a range of expression. So watch this. I'm going to show you this. We're going to go to my screen. We're going to show my range of expression gauge. Don't get too excited. Here we go. I made this all by myself.
It's emoji based.
Okay, so look at this. So if you look here, these guys are totally cracking up and ecstatic. This guy's totally pissed off. Non-existent facial activity is right in the middle. That's right here. That's where it lives. That's what see this no man's land? This is the red area. That's where you all live if you're not directing your subject. You all suck. And that's where you live.
Don't sugarcoat it, Peter. How are they?
That's usually the shots we were talking about are in that no man's land.
They live in that no man's land.
Headshot crew photographers don't take shots in here. We go right here. This is where confidence and approachability lives. Real laughter's here. This is what happens. Did you see the arrow shoot up? When people laugh, they go up real quick. Whatever's funny, they get up to their peak. I mean, normally nobody's going into convulsions or anything. They come back down, right? They come back down and then they hit here and then they slide. Oh, we're going to have to show it again. Hold on. They slide back into. Oh, we're going to have to show it again. They watch the arrow as it goes. They're going to slide back down to Nepha face, completely blank, right? So what I'm doing is I'm trying to get that slide. I'm shooting while I'm sliding, okay? So in the middle is non-existent facial activity, which we have there, which just is something you want to stay as far away from as possible. But, and I believe it's our responsibility as photographers to pull the best out of our subjects, no matter how stiff and lifeless they are, and they will be. And this is me looking stiff and lifeless. I look stiff and lifeless. This is an unprocessed raw file that I guess I put in. I processed it, and I look happier about the processing. Look, there we go. I fixed my collar, too. So look at this. So what happens? What are the 3 things we can change on our face? Mouth, eyes, and eyebrows. So hint of a smile, a little squinch action. I don't even need much brow activity. So you really only need 2 things on the face to really make a difference. And you need to become a facial conveyance strategist. You need to see what that person's face is saying. And when in doubt, you need to make them squinch and smile. So watch this. I'm like, this is my thing. So what does she need? I shot this. Those eyes we're only moving mouth and eyes. She needs a squinch and a smile. Watch this. Much better shot.
Oh, yeah.
All right. What about him? He looks petrified. As a facial conveyance strategist, I'm seeing fear, and I need a hint of a squinch and a hint of a smile, and now I got it. Look at the difference. Even the shoulder drop was there. All right. This guy, big eyes. We need to settle those eyes down. That mouth could be a little more approachable. Boom. There you go. And it just is the same. I mean, this guy's a bit of a freak show. Let's see if we can get him a little. Now he went a little bit overboard, but he looks like a badass. And she just looks a little petrified and timid to a little more sass.
Oh, yeah. The sass
It's
is good.
such a difference. So, guys, I want you to practice this stuff. Look at this. From here, the way I look at that, and I go, oh, she's a little serious. I say a hint of a smile. I will not say smile, but I'll say tiny. Look at how small that is. Look at the difference. From there to there. It just makes a big difference in what the onlooker gets. So that is where I want you guys to be. I want you to think about that, and that's my little thing for today I wanted to show you. It was kind of cool.
Wow, thank you. Thank you very much. That's great. And I think this is just what our folks need to hear. As
Yeah,
Erik
that's
was
exactly.
saying, our folks are in that middle. They're in that middle, that red zone, where they're like a lot of the shots that we see are the before shots that you're showing, where they're not giving you anything, but you know, okay, this person's got a good facial structure, the lighting's good, the exposure's good, you have all these other pieces in place, but they're just giving you nothing. It was like when you showed that shot of you, and you're just like, so many of them are
It's
like
well
that.
lit. It's in focus. It has
Yeah.
all the right settings. The
Yep.
background is fine. The lighting's fine. The camera's fine. It's the smile. It's the all the expressions.
And that's our gift. That was a gift given to me. I wouldn't be sitting here if people didn't do that.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing anything special except for that, I thought. I mean, people can take good pictures, but I was like, this is it. This is my thing. This is what I'm going to work on expression. So guys, so many people have cameras these days. There's more pictures being taken than ever in the history. That means there's more crappy pictures being taken ever in history, which means that you can stand out from a crowd by just doing this. Just doing this. There's stuff in the book. This book is all about that. There's a whole section called Hurleyisms of how I make people laugh. I say dumb things to them, and I make them laugh, and then I do different stuff. And if you're the expert, guess what? People will listen to you. And they don't know this stuff. I shot A-Rod the other day, and he said to me, why didn't anybody else nobody ever told me the stuff you're telling me? It was awesome. I was like, that was so cool from him.
yeah.
And he was so into it. He was so awesome to shoot. But he's like, nobody ever told me this stuff with the chin and the ball. And I was like, I made it up. He's like,
And for those of you who don't know who A-Rod is, you're watching maybe in another country, keep up with American baseball. That's Alex Rodriguez, very, very famous, world famous New York Yankee. Does television ads. He's he's a celebrity outside of just being a great football. Was married to Jennifer Lopez. Did he ever marry J-Lo?
are they married? I don't know.
Well, they were engaged, certainly.
Yeah,
I don't
they were
think
engaged.
they ever
I
got
think they were
married, but
engaged,
very famous baseball player, and he just got to shoot him. All right, well, guys, we've completely run out of time. However, we still have stuff to do. We've got our giveaways and stuff, so we're going to take a very short break. When we come back, we're going to do our giveaways, and we're going to talk about one last thing with Peter, and then we'll be wrapping up. So stick around, because we want to see if you want anything, and you also want to hear this next thing from Peter, which is very important. Don't go away.
Hi, my name is Ibarian X Perello. I'm a photographer, as well as the host and producer of the Candid Frame Photography podcast. And you may also recognize me from another course that I taught here at Kelby 1, my course on street photography. Well, this course is something different. It's teaching you how to become your own best editor. Now, regardless of how long you've been making pictures or how experienced you are with a camera, there comes a time where you have to be able to assess your own work. Not whether an image is good or bad, but what that body of work means and what you want to do with it. And that's the role of the editor, and that's what I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you my own personal process and how I use Adobe Lightroom Classic to look at images from a shoot or a project and discern which of those images are the best, and translate them into a gallery, a spread in a magazine, or a book or an exhibition. All those pictures that you love to create into something that has greater meaning than whether that picture looks good as an individual photograph. This course is a lot of fun, and it's a breakthrough for many that I've taught in my in-person and online workshops, and I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. Join me on my course on Kelby 1. You're bound to have a lot of fun.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
Hey, we are back. I wanted to show you a video, but we're having a little trouble getting the audio out, but I might have sent it to the wrong place. Try to figure out where to send the audio. Let me just see if the control room hears my audio. 'Cause I could always put my mic on it because it's my. Can you? Yeah, I'll just put my mic near it. But it is. So this is basically. Let me switch to my audio for my speakers and crank it up. So this is a video we did 9 years ago for a class that Peter has done. That it is a classic class. It is every bit as appropriate today as it was then, and people love this class. It's been a huge thing. So I'm going to play it. I'm going to do it full screen here, and I'm going to put my mic on the audio. So I'll be mute for just a second. If I can turn this thing here, put it right over here.
The key to the headshot and capturing a great headshot or portrait for that matter is expression. You can have great lighting, you can have a great subject, you can have a killer background, but if you don't have expression, in my opinion, you got nothing. Hey, my name's Peter Hurley. I'm a portrait photographer in New York, and here I am in my city.
Wow, I remember that.
I knew I was a portrait photographer because that's what I do. I just am intrigued by the fact that we all look so different. We have so many different expressions we can make. Why not go for them? Maniacal. The art of capturing expression is simply working with your subject to get organic and spontaneous life out of them, human stuff. Now, forehead like a chicken. Call it that. I like that. Good. When you have a person, technical is out the window. I'm 90% therapist, 10% photographer. The technical's done. I'm Peter Hurley, and it's all about making faces in portraiture. Come check out my class at kelbytraining.com. Shebang, shebang, shebang! #1 catchphrase.
All righty. Oh, that class, of course, is at Kelby 1, the same place, just the name has changed. Anyway, long story short, I wanted you to see Peter kind of doing his thing. You know, I see him interacting with someone behind the camera, which is why I wanted to show you that. But besides his classes on Kelby 1, of which he has a number, Peter has something that is very unique. He has this thing called the Headshot Crew. Now, I follow a bunch of his students on LinkedIn. So I'm on LinkedIn, and the people I follow, they'll tell me I'm in Peter's Headshot Crew, so I immediately accept them. And these people are taking headshots, Peter. I mean, your students are killing it. The best headshots that you will see, period, on LinkedIn come from either Peter or his students. But dude, your thing works. And I think that, you know, there's all kinds of things that you can invest in. And I learned something, I got better. Peter's thing is you're really learning from a community. You're learning from Peter. And it's the results speak for themselves. The fact that so many of your people, I follow them on LinkedIn,
awesome.
and dude, they are absolutely. They are killing it. I'll write back to them. I'll even say, holy crap, man, that looks great. I mean, they're posting stuff, and they're posting their great shots to get more headshot work, right? Because today, if you don't have a good headshot, it reflects on you, because so many people now do. And there's been a whole awakening of how important, especially now, how having a great headshot is. In fact, the headshot that I use to this day on everything, Peter took, and I love it. It's my favorite. Probably it's just like Kathy Borowski's my favorite portrait ever. And
I love it.
Anyway, I could you just for 2 seconds talk about the Headshot Crew? Or you got a video you're going to show us?
Not yet. I'll talk about this first. So, no, what the headshot for me, the way I work and what I do, I don't think there's any better way to light or take a headshot, or my system just works. So it's working globally. So we've started. I teach a recipe, and I'm a student of the game, so I'm growing as I teach. So it's awesome. But if I could infuse it into people's brains, I would. I'm an open book when I coach. I want the best for everybody that comes to me to try and do this. And if you're doing it as a business, then I want you to be successful. And yes, the people copy me. And if you look at the work, it looks like it's my work too, because the recipe works. If it could be done better, and we've found things that have been better, and we've switched immediately. There's a system that I use called the TNT method of selling images, and I switched immediately to it and got the whole crew to switch to it. So we all switched to it. So if there was something better, we'd be doing it. And this is the recipe that I teach. And we have had more people make. I have a 100K club on Headshot Crew, and we had more people in it last year than any other year that we've been in business.
Wow.
So yeah, so people are going from scratch to over $100,000 a year with headshots, and we have people breaking 200, 400. We have one guy over 700. I mean, he added video to what he was doing too, but he was my most successful student. To date, most of the ones that are some people tell me, and I'm like, and I'm just going by their word. I'm like, look, don't, like, if you made it, you made it. You don't have to, it's not going to help anybody to say that you made it into this club. And I had so many people tell me, I made 90, I didn't make the 100. I was like, look, it's gross with headshots or your portrait headshot business. If you grossed over 100K, I want to know about it. And we do this thing called All Business every Monday at 10 a.m. and it's an all business Zoom, and I'm on it, and we talk business and we talk what people are doing. We also have a 24/7 Zoom. The best thing that I ever implemented in the Headshot Crew is a 24/7 Zoom for people to get coached while at any hour of any day. We're global, so it's always open, it's always there, and we have a bunch of mentors, people that have made it to associate status. If you make it to associate, you got 15 shots by me in a portfolio. There's 160 associates on the site. There's 1,500 in the coaching program. So about 10% have made it there. People think it's easy. It's not. It's really hard. It's so hard. I'm such a stickler because you've got to abide by this formula to be successful. So I pride myself on that. But we have amazing people. It's an amazing group, and it's all community driven. So it's really the community.
Where do they learn more about this?
They can go to, if you go to my computer, I can show you. If I'm doing anything, you guys, the best way to follow me or get me is to DM me on Instagram and go to my Instagram. I answer all my DMs myself, and that's definitely the best way to get me. But if you go to my link tree here, if you click that, it comes up like this. And this is everything that I have going on. I've got a Portrait Photographer of the Year challenge on Guru Shots right now. Shebangers is my NFT project. Headshot Crew coaching platform is here. My workshops are here. We just did a headshot intensive here with Scott. I just announced one in Burlington, Ontario, Canada in June, and I launched that yesterday. The next one's in Los Angeles. The one after that's in Austin, Texas. I'll be in Minneapolis in September, and I always do them out of my studio in New York, but I'll announce others. I'm also going to Greece in September, and I'm going to try and do one in something. I'm doing a workshop in Greece. I'm also going to do a workshop probably in Europe somewhere. Here's the Greece thing that I'm doing with Lindsay and JB. I have a photographer text thread if you want to get in on my text, where I text people things, and that's basically my link tree is the place to go. This is the Guru Shots thing. This is the Headshot Crew. So if you get into it and you log in, you'll see this Headshot Crew 24/7. It's a live Zoom, and we're there. This is the Shebucks leaderboard, which Shebucks are a token that we're making for my NFTs that the people gain Shebucks by being part of the Headshot Crew, and they're actually going to be a cryptocurrency so we're working on that. We have a couple contests rolling. We just finished a couple. I'm going to add another. We do a Headshot of the Week and a Headshot of the Month, which both have to be added to this. Headshot of the Month is sponsored by Faisal this month, so we'll be giving away a CT3472 LV tripod, which is my favorite tripod. It's about a $700 to $800 value, something like that. But anyway, I'd appreciate it if anybody wanted to check it out. If you are into crypto and want to look at any NFT projects going on, I am in the space with my Shebangers project, which has been awesome. Making metaverse. Should I show them the video?
Yeah, this is wild.
Look at this, guys. This is what we're working on. This is Shebangersville. This is my new project. I'm going to be teaching in Shebangersville, and we've got sponsors with storefronts that will be in there. You will be able to walk around in here. This is coming in the coming months. I'm working with ProPhoto. I'm working with Westcott. I'm working with B&H. I'm working with almost everybody that I have. I'm hoping, and I'm talking to Scott about this, about having a Kelby one little place there where they'll have all their stuff as well. So this is what's happening. These are the Shebangers. They're little guys with cameras on their heads, and once we get them 3D rendered, they will be the ones running around in here, and the owners of the Shebangers will be able to go into the shooting bays and shoot and check things out. These are the shooting bays. We're also doing a gallery. I'll run this guy a little quicker around so that we can get done with this. That's the B&H store that has yet to be filled with anything. But the gallery in the middle is where we're going to showcase people's work, and they can go in here and check things out. And we're going to put, obviously, with their Shebangers on the walls, but we can put people's work. And I think you guys, I just want to educate you and open up your eyes to what's going on in crypto with the NFTs. I think it's amazing for photographers to have another source of income. And that's what this is about. Guys, you're going to have a residual on your sales of your imagery. You probably have images that could be sold as NFTs now, and some of you shoot fine art and stuff and should definitely get them on the platform. And if you have questions about that, that's what I'm trying to do, become an educator in that space. So I will be hopefully at the forefront of that. I just got off a call this morning with a company in Sweden that's going global with the NFT thing for fine art photography, and want me to be a influencer and brand ambassador for them. So it's all big stuff. It's all cool. It's all foreign to everybody. So just start to educate yourself and Google stuff on it, and see if you can get some of your images out there, and maybe people will potentially buy them. You know?
All right. Well, thank you, Peter. Thanks very much. Mr. Kuna, we got people that have won some prizes, and of course we are also giving away a giant bottle of Simply Right Body Care Hand Sanitizer. It kills 99.99% of germs. I don't know, we shouldn't give this away. It's already kind of half done.
The thing is, you don't want that 0.01% of germs.
Yeah, you don't want that. You'll get that,
you don't want that one.
0.01 germ. You don't want that. All right, who's won? Look at all these winners.
We've got Tim Hawley's winning the Platypod accessory kit. We got Gary L. winning your travel photography book. Marcella winning the Boris Effects optics. Then we got Mike Litchke winning the On One Effects. Tracy Cholin winning Peter's book. So there you go. And Perry Blevins winning Blevins winning the Lightroom Classic book. So there you go. Just email us over at gridprize@kelby1.com. We'll verify your information and send you out your prize.
All right. Well,
Should
Peter,
I
thank
sign
you.
this for Tracy?
Yeah, it would be nice.
Is this the one that's going to
Yeah,
go to her?
that's the one that's going to go to her. Yeah.
All right, Tracy, here's your book. I'm going to sign it.
All right. Well, Peter, thank you so much for being on the show. It's always a pleasure to have you here, and thanks for sharing all that. That's just what our audience needed to hear. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I loved your project with the emojis.
I love it. I'm working.
Time well spent.
That was good.
All right. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Thanks to our crew here and our studio audience, which is Diane and Kathy. So that would nice to have a studio audience. And we will see you guys next Wednesday. What are we doing next Wednesday? We know?
We have Ian Plant, Deb Sandage, and Aaron Babnick.
Ooh, it's landscape next. We got some great guests coming in. So all kinds of the instructors from the conference will be talking landscapes. That'll be a lot of fun. Not as much fun as having Peter Hurley, but certainly the very next best thing. All right. Thanks, Mr. Peter Hurley. And they can just go to peterhurley.com.
Yeah, they can check it all out there.
All right. Sure. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for our sponsors. See you guys next week right here, live on the grid. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Scott. That was amazing.
Peter.